Hi guys, and congratulations on making it to the end of the semester. During my slideshow presentation, I'm going to be going over my top three favorite assignments that we did during the semester. But first, I wanted to go over the purpose on why we took this class. Business Discourse for the 21st Century Professionals is a course designed to help students gain practice in their written, visual, and oral communication. We are encouraged to use our best communication to succeed in the course and in the business world. The skills we gain from this course will allow us students to concisely convey information, ideas, research, and viewpoints to our future colleagues, customers, and other stakeholders. One of my favorite assignments was building a resume. I had never built a resume before, so this was very new to me. The goal of this assignment was to build a resume that was clear and focused while addressing the appropriate audience. We were also to use data, statistics, and specific examples to back up our skills. Working on this assignment, I had to play around with the formatting, especially because I had to put myself in the position of the recruiters who receive hundreds of application and they're just scanning through them. So I tried to make an effective format for the recruiter. What I learned from this assignment is that building a resume is very time consuming and it's not something you're going to get done in just one sitting. You're going to have to go back and edit a lot of things. I also learned that you shouldn't tell everything in your resume and you shouldn't overcrowd it with too much information. And you should leave some questions for the interview, or you could even cover some things in your cover letter. Most importantly, I learned that it's important that we constantly adjust our resume. We should adjust our resume depending on the job we are applying for. For example, our resume should not look the same for if we're applying for a food industry job versus us applying for a big corporate job. The dress code memo, this one was a little bit of an easier assignment. The goal for this assignment was to create a memo that is detailed and effective. As students, we were to pretend we were regional managers of a retail clothing store, and we were to create an effective memo to the store managers addressing a new dress code memo for employees. When I was creating this assignment, I tried to address as many questions as possible, and I did this by trying to put myself in the position of whoever is receiving this memo, just so that in the future you can avoid receiving a lot of emails with ton of questions just because you didn't add enough detail. So what I learned from this assignment, it's that it's a good idea to get someone else besides yourself to go over your work because they will catch errors that you might not. And therefore, the quality of a memo does take time, and one should definitely consider having someone with a fresh mind reading their things before pressing send. Creating a logo, this was one of my favorites because it allowed us to be a little bit more creative. The goal of this assignment was to create a logo that is memorable while displaying a message to our targeted audience. When I was designing my logo, I was trying to target an audience who are those people who are just running errands and they're craving a cup of coffee, or those people who just want to go out and catch up with a friend or family member and they want to just sit down and drink a cup of coffee while doing so. I chose the name cafecito because in the Spanish language, a cup of coffee is often referred as cafecito. And since in my household we do speak Spanish, that's why I chose this over the word coffee. The colors, they're a little bit more of a brown tone, and that is because when you think of coffee, you obviously think of the color brown. For the font, I wanted to keep it simple, and since I already had the cup of coffee in the background, I didn't want to have a too fancy font for it, so that's why I kept it as simple as possible. What I learned from this assignment is that I still have a lot to learn about building a logo. there's so much components that go into building an effective logo, and you definitely have to let yourself be creative with it, but at the same time you can't get too much in your head with creating a logo because that's when you start overthinking things and it might not result you with such an effective logo. My final thoughts about the course is that I have definitely learned new skills that can be applied in the real world. I feel like oftentimes students are leaving a class saying, oh, I'm never going to need this, or this is useless. I'm never going to need this in the real world. But this was not the case with this class. I feel like everything I've learned, I can see why I will need it later on, or how I can apply the skills I've learned for future references. With that being said, I do feel like my writing skills have improved. I used to think that I knew how to write a proper email, but after taking this class, I learned that there's a lot that goes into it that I didn't know before. Most importantly, I learned that we should always draft our work and we should always have somebody else revise our work. I think it's important that we use our resources on campus that can help us get our work revised. Something I would suggest for students taking this course is to always ask questions. I think it's best to get your questions clarified instead of being left wondering how exactly you do something or why you're doing something. I think the most successful people are those who ask questions and aren't left lingering with the question. And overall, those are my final key takeaways. Thank you.